Welcome back to the Band Guide, where we use GarageBand to create professional sounding music. I'm your band guy, Colin, and today I want to give you some ideas on ways you can automate effects in your mix for some crazy results. Let's jump right in. I'm going to show you 3 today, and all of them are a little bit different, but mostly I just want to give you ideas of how you could use these in your mix. So it doesn't have to be these specific examples. These are not going to work in every song, but it should give you ideas on things you could do inside your mix. Let's start by just listening to what's going on at this point in the song.
She said I love you, but she called me by another name. She said I love you. Oh, what a shame. All those games I don't mind playing, but she almost had me staying.
Cool, right? Okay, so it's pretty vibey, a little bit atmospheric, and I wanted to capture that in the way the effects are processed at this point in the song. But these effects would not necessarily work at really any other point in the song, so I'm really leaning into them here, even though they're nowhere else or much, much less in other parts of the song. So let's look at what we have going on. The first example I want to give you is automating an effect on the vocal. So in this case, we're talking about chorus on the lead vocal. If we solo out this vocal and listen to it, this vocal has this line here. I'm going to turn off the chorus.
She said I love you.
Really cool line there, but it kind of has this interesting tail to it. And so I want to kind of process it so it sounds just a little bit different, a little bit funkier. I'm going to turn off the automation and just turn this chorus on so you can get a sense of what this chorus would be doing at that line.
She said I love you.
Kind of wild, makes it really, really wide, really processed sounding. It's a cool effect, but it wouldn't work on this entire line. So what I did, if you go to the automation, you can just automate individual components of a plugin. So in this case, we're looking at the chorus and we're looking at the mix. The mix is how much of that effect is mixed into the signal. So the dry signal that doesn't have that effect, and then the effect on the signal itself. And so what we're doing is we're just automating that to turn up as he sings that line. So if we listen to that again.
She said I love you.
And same thing with the second line.
Oh, what a shame.
Pretty cool, right? Again, this isn't going to work on the entirety of the vocal, but we can do it on just this little section, and it works and kind of makes that line sound a little bit better, a little bit cooler at this point in the song. The second one I want to talk about is automating your reverb. Now this is very, very common because there's some things that just need a little bit more reverb at a certain point in the song, some that don't need it. And in this case, we really want a lot more reverb at this section of the song and really highlighting individual lines. So as the lines finish, I'm scaling it up. All I've done here is I've gone and I've selected my reverb from up here, and this is going to be your master reverb that we're automating here. You can also do the ambience or this reverb here. This is a different reverb. In this case, I'm looking for the long reverb that I've set for the vocal, and I want to automate it up on this lead vocal when he gets to that line. So if we listen to that here, again, I'll put it in solo so you can hear what it's doing. This reverb is just scaling way up, so it's really, really high reverb mix relative to the lead vocal as he's finishing these lines.
Love you.
Lets that line really trail off for a lot longer. And then when we get to this last line here, I want it to cut down because this line is kind of punchy. And if I had a big long reverb mixed high there, it would kind of lose some of that punchiness. So listening in the context of the mix.
All those games I don't mind playing, but she almost had me staying.
So I scaled the reverb back in that section. That way the vocals just have a little bit more emphasis when he's hitting that line. Now I've done this all over this song. I've done this same reverb trick, let's see, on this piano here. I've scaled up the reverb here a lot, so it really adds in when that piano part is playing. It makes it really reverberant. And then I've also done it in a different way that is automating in a sense, but it's really just letting GarageBand do the work for me, which is what automation is. I really wanted this snare tail coming out of this section right before to extend into this section. So if we listen here,
she said I love you, but
that snare, that last snare hit is into this section. Really cool. And I could have done that by automating the reverb on that snare, but I wanted it to be a little bit different so it just didn't blend in with everything else. So the easiest and fastest way to do that is I just duplicated my snare track and I put just that one snare hit down on it. So I copied and pasted it down, and then I set its own reverb on this, and it's 100% the wet mix. There's no dry mix here. So it's only the reverb sound. So we've listened to that in solo here. Pan it a little bit to the right just so you could kind of perceive it a little bit better. Also kind of adds to some movement of that drum sound because the snare is right up the center. Really, really cool. And then the last thing I did with that is I just cut out, because it's on its own track, it gives me the ability to process it to sound a little bit clearer in the way I want it to in the mix. So I really want this reverb to sit on top of the mix so you really hear it when I hit that last hit. So if we listen in the context of the mix, by cutting out some of the low end and low mids here on this EQ, that snare reverb can really shine through.
She said I love you, but she called.
Makes it a lot brighter. Really, really cool. Okay, and then the third one I want to share with you is automating delays. Now, this is really, really fun. We did it on a piano here. If you listen to this piano, this is a piano that plays at other points in the song, so I don't want delay at other points in the song, but I want it at this point in the song to have delay on it to fit in with that kind of atmospheric sound. Now, if we listen to it in the context of the mix,
Oh, what a shame. All those.
and then again, it goes back into a punchy section right there at the end, so I want it to cut off abruptly. So the way I've done that is I set my stereo delay just at the end of the channel, and I'm using the mix here, which is how much of the reverb relative to the dry signal, relative to the non-delayed signal that you're getting. And then I just automated it up just in this section for both the left mix and for the right mix. And then I have them abruptly cut off so that when he goes into that punchy line at the end, there's no trails from that delay going over it. Really, really quick and simple. So you can just see these turn up. The mix is here. And then quickly turn down. To get to that, all we did, again, we found the stereo delay, left mix, right mix, and then we automated those to get the effect that we wanted. And then a little bonus here for you, we'll go into this a little bit more in depth in next week's video, but I've also created this crazy effect on its own track here, and I'm automating it, but just in volume. So this track right here, as we get to this part, and I'm just using the volume here to control how much of that is in this part of the song.
All those games I don't mind playing, but
really, really simple, crazy fun things that you can do. Now, effects and automation are super cool and fun to play with, but they're only 2 parts of the 6 parts that all professional mixes have. And you can do all 6 parts inside GarageBand completely free. I want to give you something to help with that. I've put together a completely free 6-step checklist that walks through the 6 steps that all professional mixes have and how you can do them inside GarageBand. There's a link in the description below. It's really going to help you out and help you get a more professional sound inside GarageBand right now with nothing new. So be sure to grab that from the link in the description below. Before we go, I want to hear from you. What do you think of automating effects? Have you ever done it? Are you going to try it now? Let me know in the comments below. If this video was helpful, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.
one thing at a time.